You heard me. Dad never wanted you. You think I didn't know that? She moved closer to her brother, holding her breath. Are you saying I came from Italian parents? All along, she'd thought the sisters at the orphanage might have named her for the fairy tale character, or else she came from French roots. Her whole life she'd been praying to find out her true lineage, and she'd gone to the orphanage many times seeking information. But every time she did, she'd been told they couldn't help her. Nadine, her adoptive mother, had never revealed the truth to her, but Belle had heard Cliff slip and refused to let it go. He averted his eyes and wheeled around to leave, but she raced ahead of him and blocked the door. At 24, Belle was no longer frightened of him. Before they left this office and parted ways forever, she had to ask the question that had been inscribed on her mind and heart from the time she knew she was an orphan. What else do you know about my background? Cliff flashed her a mocking smile. Now that Dad's no longer alive, how much money are you willing to pay me for the information? She could hardly swallow before she opened her purse and pulled out the check. In a trembling voice, she said, I'd give you this to learn anything that could help me know my roots. While he watched, she drew out a pen and endorsed it over to him. For the first time since she'd known him, his eyes held a puzzled look rather than an angry one. You'd give up that much money just to know about someone who didn't even want you? Yes, she whispered, fighting tears. It's not important if they didn't want me. I just need to know who I am and where I came from. If you know anything, I beg you to tell me. Taking a leap of faith, she handed him the check. He took it from her and studied it for a moment. You always were pathetic, he muttered. So you don't know anything and were just teasing me with your cruelty? That doesn't really surprise me. Go on, keep it. I never thought we'd get that much money from the auction anyway. You're one of the lucky people who grew up knowing your parents. Too bad they're gone and you're all alone now. Knowing how it feels, I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Not even you. Belle opened the door and had started to leave when she heard him say, The old man said your last name was the same as the red-headed smart mouth he hated in high school. Her heart thundered. She spun around. Who was that? Frankie Donatello. Donatello? Yeah. One day I heard Mom and Dad arguing about you. That's when it came out. He said he wished they never adopted that Italian girl's brat. After he left for work, I told Mom she ought to send you back to where you came from, because you weren't wanted. She said that would be impossible because it was someplace in Italy. What? She thought. Where in Italy? Belle demanded. I don't know. It sounded something like Rimini. How did he find out? The sisters told me it was a closed adoption. How the hell do I know? It didn't matter, because joy lit up Belle's insides. Her leap of faith had paid off. Without conscious thought, she reached out and hugged him so hard she almost knocked him over. Thank you. I know you hate me, but I love you for this and forgive every mean thing you ever said or did to me. Goodbye, Cliff. She rushed out of the law office to the bus stop and rode back to work. After nodding to the sales reps, she disappeared into the back room and looked for a map of Italy on the computer. She was trembling so violently she could hardly work the keyboard. As she scrolled down the list of cities and towns that popped up, the name Rimini appeared, most closely matching Rimini. The blood pounded in her ears when she looked it up and discovered it was a town of 140,000 along the Adriatic. It was in the province of Rimini. Quickly, she scanned the month's schedule of vacations for the employees. They all had 1 week off in summer and 1 in winter. Belle was on summer break from college, where she went to night school. Her vacation would be coming up the 3rd week of June, 10 days away. Without hesitation, she booked a